ISKCON Samastapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramhansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shriman. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridasa Kaur Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Vadraganath Shri Jeev Gopala Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premjigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govindam Ki Jai. Mathuradam Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai, ISKCON Dwarka Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Jamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish Ki Jai, Shri Baladev, Shri Jagannath Baladev, Shrimati Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribol. Glories to these sound devotees, all glories to these sound devotees, all glories to these sound devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. So we are very, very fortunate that we have His Holiness Prahladanand Maharaj, Prahladanand Swami Maharaj visiting us today. Prahladanand Maharaj is a very, very senior disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Maharaj appeared in the holy land of New York. New York is the land where the seed of Krishna consciousness was sown by Srila Prabhupada. And it was in the year 1949 Maharaj appeared, and in the year 1969 when Maharaj was studying at the University of Buffalo, New York, that he was introduced to Krishna consciousness. And in that very year Maharaj was initiated formally by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Maharaj in the year 1975 joined the very famous Radha Damodar bus party under the guidance of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and His Holiness Vishnujan Swami Maharaj. And in the year 1982, Maharaj took the sannyas order of life. And it was in the year 1986 that Maharaj became the initiating spiritual master. And in the 1990, Maharaj was appointed as the head of GBC Committee of Health and Welfare. And also in the 1991, Maharaj was appointed to head the Sannyas ministry. And since then, he has been leading that ministry. So I was telling my brahmacharis that you have to really take care of Maharaj nicely. So welcome Maharaj. We should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for welcoming Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. His Holiness Prahladanand Saraswati, Prahladanand Swami Maharaj Ki. Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya Yamuna Tirha Vanacharya Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravarakacharya Asadhara Sadushi Shriman His Divine Grace Shri Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Haribol Om Agyanatvanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Tadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shiguro Shiyuta Para Kamalam Shigurum Vaishnavam Scha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakans Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Tribhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyavacha Patitanam Vavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu, Text number 2. Akutim ruchaye prasad api brat vrimatim ripaha putrika dharmam ashritya shatarupanu moditaha akutim ruchaye pradad api bratri matim ripaha putrika dharmam ashritya satarupanu moditaha. Brahma tritim ripaha Purika dharmam ashritya Shuta rupani modita Kutim vidya Ladies, Akuti Ruchaye, under the great sage Ruchi, Pradat, handed over, Api, although, Pratrimatim, daughter having a brother, Nripaha, the king, Putrika, get the resultant son. Get the resultant son. Dharmam, religious rights. Ashritya, taking shelter. Shatarupa, by the wife of Swayambhuva Manu. Anumoditaha, being sanctioned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Akuti had two brothers, but in spite of her brothers, King Swayambhuva Manu handed her over to Prajapati Ruchi on the condition that the son born of her be returned to Manu as his son. This he did in consultation with his wife Shatarupa. Purport. Sometimes a sonless person offers his daughter to a husband on the condition that his grandson be returned to him to be adopted as his son and inherit his property. This is called Putrika Dharma, which means that by execution of religious rituals, one gets a son. One is sonless by one's own wife. But here we see the extraordinary behavior of in Manu, for in spite of his having two sons, he handed over his first daughter to Prajapati Ruchi on the condition that the son born of his daughter be returned to him as his son. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments in this connection that King Manu knew that the Supreme Personality of Godhead would take birth in the womb of Akuti. Therefore, in spite of having two sons, he wanted the particular son born of Akuti because he was ambitious to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear as his son and grandson. Manu is the daughter of is the lawgiver of mankind, and since he personally executed the Putrika Dharma, we may accept that such a system may be adopted by mankind also. Thus, even though one has a son, if one wants to have a particular son from one's daughter, one may give one's daughter in charity on that condition. That is the opinion of Srila Jiva Goswami. Om Agyanat Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shnivadi Paskatya De Satarne. It is said, Sattva Rajas Tamayiti Guna Prakriti Sambhava Nivananti Mahabaho Dehe Dehinam Avyam. That the material body consists of three modes, namely goodness, passion, ignorance. And when the living entity comes in contact with these modes, he becomes conditioned by them. In other words, all of us, although we may be spiritual souls, we now find ourselves in the material body. And the material body consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And when we come in contact with these modes, we become conditioned by them. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, Parambuya pravakshami gyanam gyanamutama yajgatvamuniya sarve param siddhim ito gata. I'm going to explain to you the knowledge which is better than all the other knowledge I've explained before. Now, before Krishna has explained confidential knowledge in the fact that we're not this body. More confidential knowledge in the fact that we're being guided by Paramatma. And the most confidential knowledge, idam tute guyatma pravaksham anushiyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajgatva moksha se shuvat, will be explained to Arjuna because Arjuna is qualified, because he's never envious. Therefore, Krishna explains this most confidential theoretical knowledge and applied knowledge by which one can become free from all miseries of material existence. In other words, Krishna consciousness. But the Vedas are consisting of the three of knowledge, as it says, Nigama Kalpatura Galitam Palam, Sukhamukam Drava Samyutam, Pibata Aliyam, Mahur Ras Aliyam, Mahur Rasika Bhuvikaha. That the Vedic literature is like a desire tree. It appeals to everyone's desires in the material world, whether in ignorance or in passion or in goodness, to actually produce results. In other words, if there are actual gods and demigods, if there's actually a Supreme Personality of Godhead, if the material world is under Krishna's control, and he gives a formula for getting whatever we want, because whatever we have has been given to us by Krishna, and whatever we'll get in the future will also be given to us by Krishna. Now, in modern society, people are rather limited in their understanding of what's possible. They have a very small conception of reality, and therefore they get a very small return in their investment of desire. Actually, everyone simply wants three things. Everyone wants to learn how to become as happy as possible for as long as possible. But people don't know, Te vidu swartikatim hi Vishnu Darashaya ye bahir artha manina. They don't know that the goal of life is to obtain Krishna. In other words, only if we obtain Krishna can we get Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Sattvam Shudyat Tasmai Brahma Sokyam Tunandam. Only if we become Krishna conscious can we get unlimited happiness which goes on forever. Other than that, Nanya Deho Deha Bhajam Riloke Kastan Karman Arhate Vidbujam Ye. Otherwise, people are interested in simply gratifying their senses. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and especially defending, so we can keep on eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Therefore, Shodavyadishu Rajandra Srinam Shanti Sahasra Shaha Apashitam Atmatattvam Griheshu Grihamedinam. In this world, there are hundreds and thousands of topics. The birds are asking questions and they're getting answers. If you know bird language, it's very simple. There's not much grammar to it. The first word that the bird learns is beep, beep, which means, where's the worm? And the answer to the question is quite simple, beep, 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 which means the worm is over there. So everyone is asking questions and getting answers. Now Parikshit Maharaj asked the question that what is the duty of a person who's about to die? Now, this is not a very popular question because people don't know what the answer is. It's embarrassing to the so-called learned scholars at the universities to ask such a question because they have no idea the answer, what the answer might be. But Shukadeva Goswami was fully empowered to give the proper answer. Therefore, he was very happy to hear such an intelligent question. And he said, Varyan Eshate Prashna, Krita Lokita Ripaha, Atmavan Samatap Pumsam, Shrodivadishu Yakparaha. That this question is glorious, because it'll actually benefit everyone. Both the speaker and the person who hears the answer, as well as the audience. Everyone will be benefited, because the one thing we all have in common is that our bodies are changing. And the final change of this body means that we have to leave the body. When we have to leave the body, then we call the body as dead. Actually, the body is always dead. It's only because we're in the body that we think it's alive. But it's always changing. Therefore, it has no real existence. It's always anything that's always changing has no permanent existence, at least. But we, the soul within the body, we don't change. And therefore, although we have a capacity at the present, don't take pictures, it's distraction. Don't take pictures, it's distracting. Although we have a tendency, the body is changing, but we're not changing, but because we're conditioned by the modes of material nature, therefore we take interest in trying to arrange a nice situation for our body, which is not bad, but it's not the only purpose of life. For instance, if you have to travel from here to Calcutta, it's easier by airplane. It's much easier to go to the airport and catch a plane from there. If you go on the top of this construction of the building here and try to get the airplane as it flies by to stop and pick you up, you're not very likely to get on board. Similarly, if we want to achieve eternal happiness that goes on forever, then it is better to first come to the mode of goodness and there go to transcendence. If we try to catch a ride to transcendence through passion and ignorance, we may have to wait many lifetimes of Brahma before we have such an opportunity. Therefore, the Bhagavatam is giving us a process of understanding what mode of material nature we're under and what we have to do to come to the platform of the mode of goodness or liberation from the materialistic concept of life, that we're this body, this temporary body. Then we can understand by that process how to take shelter of Paramatma within our heart to guide us towards eternity, rather than to guide us towards some materialistic aspect of material existence. Then the ultimate goal of life can be revealed to us, that actually it is a fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now that depends upon a little bit of faith to take up the process of Krishna consciousness and at the same time try to come to the platform of goodness. Srila Prabhupada explains that one lady, in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, he explains that one lady had requested him to recommend an edition of the Bhagavad Gita in English. Prabhupada said that out of the 700 editions of the Bhagavad Gita in English that were available, both in America and in India, he said that none of them actually touched on the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains, is that if one wants to take a medicine, one has to take the medicine according to the label on the bottle or according to the expert physician. One should not take the medicine according to the advice of a friend who's not experienced in medicine. So, in the Bhagavad Gita and all in Vedic literature such as Brahma Samhita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna has been declared as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as personalities such as Sankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, later on Saraswati Thakur. They've all, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have all declared that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that understanding the process of realizing Krishna, because that's what Bhagavad Gita is about, it's not a thesis of philosophical speculation, it's a roadmap towards self-realization and realization of Paramatma and Krishna. So that knowledge, coming down into simple succession, we can hear what Krishna has to say. Now in conditioned life, we don't know Krishna. We hardly know Paramatma. And we're lucky to understand Brahman. But without understanding Brahman, that we're eternal, then none of this makes any sense. Now we may not fully understand we're not eternal, but a little bit of consciousness of that has to be there. And how do we come to that understanding that we're eternal? How do we develop faith in Paramatma and Brahman and Bhagavan? Well, according to Bhagavad Gita, according to Parasara Muni, Aishvaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashastriyaha jnana vairagyas chainam vashana bhagahi tingaraha. That Krishna, God, the source of everything, has 6 opulences. He has beauty, he has wealth, he has fame, he has renunciation, he has strength. But the one opulence that we can actually perceive in our conditioned life, because we can't see Krishna's beauty, unlimited beauty, we can't see his unlimited fame, nor can we realize his unlimited strength or his unlimited wealth, but we can realize something about his knowledge which is in Bhagavad Gita. Beginning with Denos Minyata Dehe Kaumaram Yovanam Jara. That we're eternal. The body's changing, but we're not changing. And we may be able to perceive Paramatma, because we can see that everyone is being directed with intelligence. The whole universe is being directed with intelligence. First, we understand samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashavam vinashantam yakpashyati sapashyati. One who can see the soul and the super soul accompanying all bodies, and who knows that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. So if we're eternal, then why don't we accept that everyone else is eternal too? Maybe conducted by different modes. Sometimes some people are happy, some people are sometimes in anxiety, some people are sometimes foolish. But that's the external body, that's the modes of material nature we're looking at. But everyone is a soul within a conditioned body going through a particular hallucination of identifying themselves with their gross and subtle bodies. But that hallucination, that material existence or playground to fulfill our materialistic hallucinations, that's being provided by Paramatma, who's guiding each one of us. Not only the human beings, but even the ant. The ant is being guided to find sugar much more expertly than we can do. If there is a Mahasweet somewhere in the Pujari room, the ant will be much more qualified to find it than we will. So that guidance is being given by Paramatma because the ant desired to have an ocean of sweetness in his life, and therefore he took the body of an ant. So if he gets one piece of sugar, he can be in ecstasy for the next month. But human beings are meant for more than that. They're meant to find ecstasy forever, not for a month of sugar. Therefore, Paramatma is simply fulfilling our desire according to what we deserve. Those who are fortunate enough to come to the human form of life, they can understand that there is a Paramatma, and he's guiding us. And he spoke Bhagavad Gita in his original form of Krishna. And that knowledge is coming down through disciple succession. Therefore, to understand Bhagavad Gita, as Arjuna understood Bhagavad Gita, we need two qualifications. First, we have to hear Bhagavad Gita in disciple succession, and then we also have to develop two qualifications, namely, Bhaktosi me sakat cheti rahasam hiyatad uptama. Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshya vidu sakaleni hamahata yogo nashtaparantava seevayam mayatedya yogo prokta paratana bhaktosi me sakat cheti rahasyam hiyatad uttama. The Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita not to ordinary persons, but to qualified persons. And what were the main qualifications? What was Arjuna's qualification? He was a devotee of Krishna, and he was a friend of Krishna. He was favorable. And he wanted to become devoted to Krishna. He wanted to understand what reality is. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who's trying to become a friend of Krishna and trying to become a devotee of Krishna. Otherwise, one is simply going to waste one's time reading Bhagavad Gita. Now, we may not know Krishna. As a matter of fact, probably most of us don't know Krishna very much. We have a little experience. We have a lot of experience in the material existence and some experience in Krishna consciousness, depending upon what we've done in previous lives and in this life. We may be somewhere on the platform, as it says, Yesham antikatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanva moha niramuktva bhajante mam drida vrataha. That those who have passed their lives in doing pious activities and previous lives doing pious activities, who have become free from sinful activities, become free from the dualities of delusion, and therefore they can engage themselves in my service with determination. So all of us were on some spectrum of what we've done piously in our previous lifetimes, what kind of sinful activities we've been able to give up or become detached from, how much we're free from the dualities of delusion, and how much we're engaged in devotional service with determination. That will determine how much intelligence Krishna gives us. And Krishna is giving us intelligence through his devotees. Machita, machkata, prana, bodhiyantash parashparam, katayantasram nityam, tushanti cha ramanti cha. That the thoughts of my pure devotees, they dwell in me. Their lives are surrendered to me. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss by enlightening one another and conversing about me. So the devotees explain their experience in following the principles of Krishna consciousness and how they've developed awareness and bliss, how they've by utilizing their prana, their energy in Krishna's service, by utilizing their chitta in Krishna's service, their consciousness in Krishna's service, how they've come to the platform of becoming purified from the modes of material nature and eventually developing transcendental happiness or ecstasy. And the formula is simple, Krishna says, Tesham sadatam yuktanam bhajantam priti purvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayantite. The whole process of Krishna consciousness, those who are faithful to Krishna consciousness, is how to engage in devotional service steadily. And how to do it with enthusiasm, or at least with care and attention. Then dadami buddhiyogam tam. Then Krishna will give us intelligence, how to become more steady, how to become more enthusiastic in Krishna's service, and eventually, when we pass the tests, when we become aloof from the material allurements, then tesham eva nukam paratam. When we're not depressed by the material mode of ignorance, when we're not anxiety or the material mode of passion, when we're not complacent in the mode of goodness, when we're maintaining our enthusiasm in spite of all difficulties, then Krishna reveals himself within our heart, and the result is we become enlightened and enlivened in Krishna consciousness. So, if we have developed some faith in Krishna, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at least theoretically, it may not be fully realized, but there's some background for it, and theoretically we're accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's called faith. We don't blindly accept Krishna as God, and we don't blindly reject that he's God. We hear it submissively from the authorities, and we try to put into practice as an experiment to see if it works or not. And as we become experienced in Krishna consciousness, then we gradually come to the platform of pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness. So at least theoretically, one has to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that consciousness, that one can render service, that's called faith. That faith is called, Prabhupada calls it, that submissive attitude will enable one to practice Krishna consciousness and experience what the results are. Of course, if one has a very limited desire, then one will get a very limited result. Chatura vida bhajante mam janashri kritina arjuna arte jignasya artarati gyani chaparatar shiva. There are four kinds of pious people, they render service. Some are trying to get free from pain and suffering. Some are trying to have a happy material existence. So these are also achievable through Krishna consciousness, through pure chanting of the holy name. We have to chant Hare Krishna, not shnik, shnik, ram, ram, day, 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 day. We won't achieve anything except for the association of some cats in the neighborhood. Hey, kitty, kitty, hey, kitty, kitty. All the cats will come and we'll get their association. But we won't get Krishna consciousness, nor will our miseries go away, nor will we achieve happiness in material existence, nor will we become clean and truthful, temperate in our habits of eating, etc. Good qualities in the mode of goodness, or towards the mode of goodness, will not be acquired simply by offensively chanting Hare Krishna. Then, to control our mind, to conquer the sinful reactions, to become aloof, that's the real test. If we're actually going to give up materialistic consciousness, get free from the dualities of delusion, and take up actual devotional service, get the taste of what it is like to be conscious of Krishna. That should be our goal, at least immediate goal, to become conscious of Krishna through offenselessly chanting Hare Krishna. And giving up the desire to become free from our miseries and to have a happy material existence. Queen Kunti, she prayed, Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanad Asat Kritat Ashabha Vanakritchata Mride Neka Maharatastra So Dronyasya Majma Bhavana Rakshitaha. That Bhima was fed poison, he survived. They were put into a house of lac, set on fire, they survived. They were set upon by a man-eater in the forest, they survived. One problem after another. But Queen Kunti said, Vipadak Shantatak Shasvat Tatra Ligat Guru Bhavata Darshana Nyasyat Apana Bhavadarshana. I want to see these calamities again and again, so we can see you again and again. Because by seeing you, there'll be no more seeing a repeated birth and death. So that's the junction between liberation and simply remaining in the material existence in a pious existence. The problem in the material, the worst thing in the material world, according to Queen Kunti, is Janmaishvarya Shuta Shivir Edamanak Madak Puman Naivahat Devadatim Vai Twam Akinchana Gochara. To take birth in an atmosphere where we can become conscious of Krishna, but utilize it for wanting, desiring, I want better material situation. Nowadays, living in a more better neighborhood or better country, whatever, that's considered a better material existence. Jan Aishvara, getting wealth, money sweeter than honey, Prahladanand Maharaj says. The professional soldier, the thief, and the merchant, they risk their very dear lives to get some money. And Shruta, so-called learning, to convince everyone that black is white and white is black, means you're very advanced in academic knowledge. And Shribi, to make oneself attractive in some way so that one can enjoy the idea that I'm Cupid or I'm the goddess of fortune. So the problem with this is desiring these things, because as long as we're interested in these things, as long as we're desiring them, we can't chant Hare Krishna. These are our shelter, these things, in materialistic life. And therefore we won't take shelter of Krishna. Instead, we're thinking that material improvement will make me happy. And therefore we won't understand that only by taking shelter of Krishna can we become happy. So here in the Bhagavatam, these sages are there in the mode of goodness. Maybe not pure goodness, but practically pure goodness. And therefore, they want Krishna's association above everything else. They've already achieved the mode of goodness in material existence, but they know, the sages at least, that this is not the goal of life. The goal of life is to become Krishna conscious. And what better way of becoming Krishna conscious than having your son as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now, in one sense, the Bhagavatam is nigama kalpataru galitam. It's the desired fruit. In the other sense, it's dharma prayojita kaitavat paramo nimratsaranam. In the other sense, it rejects all materialistic religions, cheating religions, kaitava, and sets forward only pure bhakti as the goal. But in conditioned life, we have to act according to at least those who are intelligent enough to understand what the goal of life is. They have to strive to act in the mode of goodness. And the Bhagavatam gives us many details of what the mode of goodness is, what the Veda culture is, we should say, or how to come to the mode of goodness through the Veda culture. But many of these things are not applicable to us because we hardly remember to wash our hands before we eat or afterwards. Therefore, the technicalities of the Vedic culture, such as a daughter being given to another man and her son coming back to the father, just doesn't apply in modern society. It may apply sometime during the next 10,000 years where people will become human beings again. Right now in animalistic culture, it's very hard to apply the standards of human beings to animals. For instance, there's such a thing as polygamy in the Vedic culture, but in materialistic culture that's present, people will simply, they can't even maintain one wife without exploiting her. What to speak of more? Therefore, one should try to become at least a proper householder, like Lord Ramachandra, ekapati vrat. Maybe in the future, when civilization develops within society, then the husband will actually be able to maintain in Krishna consciousness as a duty rather than as exploitation more than one wife. But that's not possible in this age. With one wife, it's hard enough not to become degraded and forget the goal of life. Two wives means that it's twice as much chance of becoming an animal in the next lifetime. Therefore, we cannot take everything that says in the Bhagavatam and apply it at the present time. We have to use our intelligence, see what's applicable, that will actually help us chant the holy name, which is the Yuga Dharma. Everything else is simply an assistant, especially the 5 powerful processes of chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, worshipping the deities, serving the devotees, and trying to make the atmosphere spiritual, live in a spiritual place, especially by bringing Krishna within our heart there. So that everything is an assistant for the pure chanting of the holy names. Although one can reach perfection through any of the 9 processes, but hearing is the first and most important, and in this age of the Yuga Dharma, it has to be performed chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, we take the Bhagavatam and understand that in a certain culture this may be applicable, and we have to find out in our culture what is actually applicable from the Bhagavatam so we can come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. At the end of the Bhagavatam, it says, after hearing the whole Bhagavatam, 19,000 verses or whatever, that everything will be explained just by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And at the same time, we have to follow the instructions of the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, which are applicable to our present existence, so we can come to the mode of goodness, closer to the mode of goodness, come to the platform of liberation from the material concept, and therefore with determination take up the process of Krishna consciousness. Become free from the duality's delusion, tolerate the happiness and distress of material existence, and remain in Krishna consciousness. Then from there, one can actually accept pure devotional service, come further to understand Krishna in truth, and then fall in love with Krishna. But if we think I can just jump over tolerance of what? My mind. No enemy in this world, Prahladanand Maharaj says in the 7th canto, except for the uncontrolled mind. So if we think everyone else is the problem except for me, I'm the savior, then that's a big problem. If we think I'm here to instruct everyone, then except for myself, then we're in a big difficulty. In the mode of ignorance, we think we're the controller. In the mode of good passion, we think we're the enjoyer. And in the mode of goodness, we think we're the deliverer, the savior, the benefactor. But actually, all we can do is become an instrument for Krishna by following the appropriate instructions for ourselves given by our previous acharyas through Srila Prabhupada as representatives, so we can apply these principles within our life, come to the mode of goodness, understand Krishna consciousness, the path of pure devotional service, and accept it in truth, in reality, and follow it strictly, more and more strictly, so that we can get more and more mercy from Krishna and understand who we actually are and how to achieve the ultimate goal of life, to become conscious of our relation with Krishna again. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Prashna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for this wonderful lecture and thank you for your association, Maharaj. Maharaj, my question is not from the lecture.
Then don't ask it. Prabhupada said it will distract us from the lecture. Why should we go somewhere else? Let's find out if you have some question about what was explained in the lecture. If you have some other question, you can ask me afterwards. Anyone have a question about the lecture? Yes. Give him the number.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is that why thoughts are come during only chanting?
Why they only come when they're chanting? Really, you don't have any other thoughts when you're not chanting?
Other time actually it is not coming, but while chanting it is always coming. Why?
Why there's more thoughts when you're chanting?
More thoughts.
Well, when you're cleaning during the spring sometimes, when you're cleaning, sometimes people sweep everything underneath the rug. All the dust and the dirt are underneath the rug. But when spring comes and they lift up the rug to clean underneath the rug, then all the dust comes. Therefore, when we start chanting and becoming a little conscious due to a little association with Krishna, then all the dust starts becoming revealed to us. So the chanting is simply revealing what the dust is. The question is whether we become attached more to the chanting or to the dust. Puryamana machala pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti nakama kami. Person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is always being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So the chanting of the holy name, especially, brings up all these desires. And now we have a chance to either become liberated from them by absorbing ourselves more carefully in the chanting, or to become attached to them and become deviated. And therefore stop chanting and do something other than chanting. So it's a test. Yes, we have pass the microphone, please. Back there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the lecture. Maharaj, in the 11th canto, the Hamsavata talks about 10 items which help us come into the mode of goodness, out of which one of the items is time. And in the purport, it is written that the morning time is very favorable for coming to mode of goodness, especially the Brahma Muhurt time. But for Krishna conscious preachers in the modern day, to preach most of the times, we need to be active towards the night, if not very late, at least till 10:30, 11, whenever we preach to youth or people who come back from their offices. So it becomes a great challenge to rise early in the morning. So is it okay to stay a little late and wake up a little later sometimes? How do we balance how much is okay and how much is not okay?
Well, if we can't get up in the morning, it's not okay. We can't chant our rounds offenselessly, it's not okay.
Prabhupada writes that if we sleep too less, then that makes one crazy. Isn't that passionate if we sleep too less?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Didi and Kashyapa had a child at the wrong time, at the wrong moment, during the dusk, and they got Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha as their son. So, depends who we want is what our product is. So it's not okay. Srila Rupa Goswami has given us in the nectar of devotion. We should come to Mangalarti. We should rise up early. So this idea that we're going to save everyone except for ourselves is not a very good idea. So it has to be some balance. So we should come to the Mangalarti and we should be awake, whatever that takes. And we should chant our rounds at a time which would most be conducive to chanting it offenselessly. And then when we become more powerful, and these things are not disturbing us, then maybe we can, like Prabhupada would get up, he only slept 3 hours or whatever, and he'd get up and translate during the proper time of the day. So we have to use our intelligence. Prabhupada said the Red Cross and the other organizations, they're noted for trying to help people. So that's very good. But better to help people to come to the transcendence, Krishna consciousness. That's the greatest sacrifice. But even the bigger sacrifice in helping people become Krishna conscious is first of all to save oneself. So we need pure devotees. That's what actually saves people. It's kind of Vidura, when he came to Hastinapur, Maharaj Yudhisthira greeted him with the words, Bhavan Vidas Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhutak Swayam Vibho Tirtha Korvandi Tirthani Swantak Stena Gatavritaha. That saints like yourself, they're verily holy places of pilgrimage, because wherever you go, you turn that place into a place of pilgrimage, because you carry the Supreme Lord within your heart. So that's what we want. Of course, sometimes enthusiastic preaching, we may stay out a little later because we're so ecstatically fired up. But if we're ecstatically fired up, then we should be able to get up early in the morning the next day. If Krishna has appeared within our heart and we're in ecstasy, and therefore we couldn't refrain from carrying out our service a little bit extra, then we should become a little more empowered to get up early, and in spite of the fact that we went to sleep slightly late. But to do it every day, then we just come into the modes of ignorance and passion. Then we become used to it.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Sir, yesterday we were told to reach to the Krishna, you have to go through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand. You cannot reach to Krishna directly. So what is this confusion? So could you clarify, sir, what is this through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand?
Well, we're not going to get to either Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Nityananda unless we go through the disciple succession of acharyas. And we're not going to get to the succession of acharyas unless we go through, in this movement, through Srila Prabhupada. Unless we accept him as an acharya just as we're accepting Krishna, at least faithfully, submissively, unless we follow Prabhupada's instructions and example, unless we accept him as the founder acharya for ISKCON, we're not going anywhere in devotional service, actually, at least not in this movement. And we see his representatives also, as much as they follow Srila Prabhupada, as much as they've understood his teachings and follow them, they also become Prabhupada's representatives. They become as good as Srila Prabhupada. And only through Prabhupada do we get to our acharyas, can we understand them, and then we can understand the 6 Goswamis, their writings, and then through them we can understand the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feelings of separation, and his devotees feel love and separation and service to the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can we actually enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and their associates. So it's not just Gaur Nitai or the Panchatattva, and it's not just the 6 Goswamis or our acharyas, it's Srila Prabhupada and his representatives. We have to learn how to serve everyone appropriately. Then we can actually enter into service on that transcendental platform. Anything else? I think actually we'll stop there. One more question, okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, my question was that as you mentioned that we should be for now immediately at least be conscious of Krishna during chanting. But as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that we should also be conscious of Krishna in his daily activities, like Krishna says to Arjun that think of me and then go into the war. But usually what happens in my case that I used to keep spiritual activities and material activities separately. And so what practical step I can take to become more conscious of Krishna in material activities and integrate spiritual?
Well, our philosophy, there's nothing called material. It's all spiritual. When it's utilizing Krishna's service, then it's revealed as spiritual to us. Brahmarpanam Brahmahaivira Brahmagno Brahmahuta Gata Sangasya Muktasya Gyanavastita Chetasa Ishatcharata Karma Samagram Praviliyate Brahmarpanam Brahmahaivira Brahmagno Brahmahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavya Brahmakarma Samadhina. That the work of a man who's unattached to the modes of material nature, who is fully situated in transcendence, merges entirely into transcendence, or fully situated in transcendental knowledge, merges entirely into transcendence. For him, Brahman is the offering, Brahman is the oblation, Brahman is the offerer, everything turns into Brahman. So the material nature simply means that the spiritual energy is covered by ignorance. But when that material energy is dovetailed in Krishna's service, then it's revealed to the person performing devotional service that there's nothing but Brahman. Sarvabhutastam atmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha yomam pashati sarvatra sarvam chamahi pashati tasyaham na pranashami satchame na pranashati. The true yogi observes me in all beings and sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized soul sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. And for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I have never lost to him, nor has he ever lost to me. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. His Holiness Prahladanand Swami Maharaj ki. We are very, very thankful to Maharaj for coming here, blessing us. So we'll thank Maharaj by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We want to gift Maharaj a few mementos. Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. And we have special cookies and cakes which are famous of ISKCON Dwarka.
Oh, great.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.